Hey guys, this video I'm going to talk about whether Nandrolone, so either DECA or NPP, whether it's a clean compound. Now, whether something's clean or dirty is terminology that was used a lot back in the day, but I think it's still relevant now, which is, does it have bad androgenic effects for one, or just have a negative side effect profile in general? And does it make you feel like shit? Does it really harm you? And the answer, get right to the point, which I'll further expand upon, is it can be clean, but it also can be dirty as well. But obviously it's dose dependent, which again I'll talk about more later on. But I want to talk about why it's a clean compound. For one, it is Nandrolone in itself is something that's actually bioidentical to something that's in the human body, which doesn't necessarily mean it's a safe thing, because you have like ammonia and things, and different types of biles and byproducts of metabolites and things, which can be harmful to the human body as well. But for what I understand, the purpose of the Nandrolone is for certain growth phases. I think like when you're a fetus or something. So it's not necessarily going to be it's definitely not going to be in the doses that we're doing for steroid cycles. But the fact, I just want to start with that premise that it is actually something that's bioidentical to the human body, unlike other compounds. Okay, like D-bol and the aggressive estrogen that creates is not found in the human body. Also, like things like equipoise and things, even though it's very similar, it still has that base kind of molecular structure of like testosterone. It's different. Now, the second thing I'm going to mention is it's a clean compound because it has a very low side effect profile, negative side effect, when you run it at a low dosage. So the dosage is going to be kind of the key aspect of this whole video of whether it's going to be clean or dirty. Now, there's some people who are genetically more maybe prone to the side effects than others, but I think even with those, and you can run it even just like at 100, 150 a week and still get some benefit from it. Obviously, if you run a lot higher, it's a very anabolic compound. You're going to get different results if you ran it like at 400. But I always find when I run it past 300 is when I start to run into some issues. So I like to keep it under 300. And I think 200 is kind of my sweet spot, because I know I don't run into any side effects when I run at 200. Now, it is one where I believe as well you can run it a little bit longer than some other compounds, especially like the other NOR19, like Nandrolone. I wouldn't run it that more than like 6 to 12 weeks. 12 weeks is kind of pushing the envelope with trend. That's not gonna be necessarily healthy. With Nandrolone, I go up to like 16 weeks, even up to 20 weeks at low dosages. And I've heard some people just running it indefinitely at like a 50 to 100 range. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. And obviously, take a look at your blood work, because at higher dosages anyway, a little bit higher, moderate dosages, it can make your blood a lot thicker. Okay? And that's not a good thing. So, the dose is going to be, if you ran at like 100, 150, but some of you might be like, well, what's even the point at that point? But I think there still is one. You still get benefits. You're not going to run into any progesterone side effects either, which is known for the main side effect that people are scared of Nandrolone with. Because normally when they run it, they do it like at like a 1-to-1 ratio with the testosterone. So they like go 500, maybe a 500 test 500 Nandrolone, and then they run into progesterone side effects, right? And they have to run Caber or some other shit. So that's obviously going to be too high. And that's when people run into things like DECA. Again, why some people are afraid of Nandrolone and think it might be more of a dirtier compound, or one that has not great side effect profile. But I've never run into anything like that. In fact, I even believe it's the opposite when you run it in the right dosage. If you add like 200 to your test stack, you're going to have better sexual function. That's just what I feel anyway. Share my experience. So that's why I believe it's clean. Again, if you run it under 200 especially, you're probably not going to have any significant or any side effects at all. That being said, it's still nothing's totally safe, and if you ran that for like your whole life, you might eventually get left ventricular hypertrophy. I don't know. Maybe you will get something. I don't know. It's, again, genetic dependent. But if you go over like 300, 400, that's what I find anyway. Some people might be able to tolerate up to like 700. I don't know. I could not see me ever going anywhere close to that. But for some people, they might be able to run it a little higher. But then you got to really watch things like cholesterol. Although I find it doesn't really impact my cholesterol as much as something like Anavar or something, but it still does, I think, a little bit. And but the main one's going to be red blood cell count and thickness. Thick blood. Sorry, I'm just pulling a street maneuver here in my car. 3-point turn. So that's going to be the main one, and I find at 200, it's still within range. It's still within safe range, but it's on the higher end of the safe range. If I go up to 400, it's going to potentially creep past the safe range into like if you're revving your car, it's going into like orange and almost red territory. But if I keep it like just at the low end, like say you're revving it like in third gear, a little bit higher, right? You're getting a little bit more torque, a little bit more oomph, but your RPMs are a bit higher. But it's not like you're blowing your transmission, right? That's kind of where I like to be at in my blast. That's where I get the best benefits, and that's where the 200 to 300 Nandrolone add-on is going to shine. You're going to get strength gains. You're going to get size gains. You're going to put on good weight, like solid weight. And the other thing I guess I have to really mention is people. This is an important one. People associate Nandrolone with the bloating, right? And I believe that's the case because they run their test high, for one, and they might run their Nandrolone a little too high and you get progesterone. You get a different side effect. It still converts to estrogen a little bit, so just the cumulative estrogenic estradiol aromatization might happen there as well. So again, just don't run it high. I always, when I run Nandrolone, I'm MPP especially, I'm always surprised how lean I stay sometimes. I haven't lost weight, but I'm putting on strength. So like recomping. But not even like purposely. It's just because my diet's on point, my training's on point, and then I'm adding a little bit of compounds that aren't bloating me up. They're making me stronger. But I think it's also partitioning nutrients in food to muscles more as opposed to fat storage. So I'll leave it there, guys. Let me know what your comments are, what your experience is with Nandrolone, whether you found it to be dirty or clean. I guess the one other thing I should mention is it can have a bit of a psychological effect. But again, from my experience, it's only when you go past 300. That's why I like to keep it at 200, so I have a little bit of a buffer zone, right? 200, I'm totally fine. 300, yeah, I'm fine most of the time, but it might start creeping in. If I run 400, then I might have anxiety, although it's still probably manageable. But it's just, why go there, right? When I could keep it at 200 and not have any anxiety, unless I'm like, if I got like hypothetically blackout drunk or something, there might be some anxiety creeping in because I don't have like mental control. But you're mentally control of yourself, that you're not going to go there, right? So that's what I'm going to end it on as well, and that's I'm not sure why exactly that is, whether it's because it crosses the blood-brain barrier. What effect? Probably has an effect on the central nervous system a little bit, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's obviously you don't want to be overstimulated, and overstimulating areas of the brain that are associated with like fight or flight and things, a little bit more hostility or anxiousness, or snapping at people, things like that, because at that point it becomes maladaptive. So I'll leave it there, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Peace.